discuss the chapter light. You all have read about light in the previous standard, that is in the class 7. Now, in this chapter light, at first we are going to discuss about image briefly. What is an image? An image is formed when light rays coming from a point source actually meet at another point or appear to be coming from another point, appear to be divergent from another point. In that case, the second point will be called the image of the first point. The image is classified into two types, real image and virtual image. What is the meaning of a real image? A real image is formed when the light rays coming from a point source after reflection or refraction actually meet at another point. Then the second point will be called the real image of the first point. On the other hand, the virtual image is formed when the light rays coming from a point source after reflection or refraction, they appear to be divergent from another point. They do not actually meet, but they appear to be divergent of another point. Then the second point, at the second point, a virtual image is formed. This is the main difference between a virtual image and a real image. And then two more differences I shall discuss. Those are, a real image has real existence, so it can be cast on a screen. But the virtual image has no real existence, so it cannot be, it is visible, we can see it, but it cannot be cast on a screen. And the other difference is, a real image is always inverted. A real image is inverted and a virtual image is erect. These are the three differences and the definitions of two types of images. After this topic, image, we shall be discussing the next topic, that is reflection. Very briefly, because we have already read it in the previous class. What is reflection? Reflection happens, suppose this is medium 1 and this is medium 2. If a light ray falls so what I have drawn here, this is line of section, this is medium 1 and this is medium 2. This is called line of section. M slash is the line of section. This is an incident ray. It is falling on the surface of the second medium obliquely. At which point? At point O. The name of the incident ray is AO. So when it will reflect, when it will fall obliquely on the surface of the second medium, some part of it will bounce back to the previous medium. Some part of it will go back to the previous medium. Let's give the name of the reflected ray OB. So this is all about reflection, and here two angles are formed. And what is normal? Normal is the perpendicular which we draw at the point of incidence on the surface of separation of the two media. This N slash is our normal in this diagram. Here this angle, what is the name of the angle? AON. Angle AON is angle of incidence, and angle MOB. MOB is the angle of reflection. It has two laws. The laws of reflection are, number one, the angle of incidence is always equal with the angle of reflection, that is angle I is equal to angle first law, and the second law is the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal drawn at the point of incidence on the surface of separation of the second medium all lie in the same plane. After reflection, we will be coming to refraction. What is refraction? Refraction, to define refraction, we can say that when a light ray travels from one medium and enters or tends to enter into another medium, the light ray changes its direction from the surface of separation of the two media. This phenomenon is called refraction of light. Refraction of light. So let me draw this. Suppose this is our n slash, this is medium 1 and this is medium 2. What we can see that n slash is our surface of separation of the two media. This is medium 1, this is medium 2. One light ray is coming. What is the name of the light ray? AO. It is falling obliquely on the surface of separation of the two media, and when it is entering into the second medium, then it is changing its direction. Now this is the normal. N slash is the normal, and the light ray, the refracted light ray OB has come towards the normal. Why it has come towards the normal? From this we can understand this medium is denser and this medium is rarer medium. So what is the idea we are getting from this incident? First of all, refraction says that when a light ray is coming from a particular homogeneous medium and entering into another medium, then it is changing its direction from the interface of the two medium. But there are two types of refraction. If the light ray is coming from a rarer to a denser medium, then the refracted ray will be shifted to the normal, towards the normal. When the light ray is traveling from rarer to denser, the refracted ray will be shifted towards the normal, and if the light ray is traveling from denser to rarer medium, the refracted ray will go away from the normal. these two diagrams, what is the main difference? Here the light ray is traveling from rarer to denser medium, here the light ray is traveling from denser to rarer medium. In this case, this incident ray AO, after entering into the second medium, is shifting towards the normal, and on the other hand, here after refraction, the refracted ray, that is OB, is going away from the normal. This is the main difference. Next is, our next topic will be refractive index. Before that, laws of refraction. We shall be discussing laws of refraction. Similar to the laws of reflection, laws of the refraction also has two laws. Number one, the incident ray, the refracted ray and the normal drawn at the point of incidence on the surface of separation of the two media all lie in the same plane. Number one. And number two says that for a given pair of media and if the given pair of media and the color of the light is constant, there are two laws of refraction. Number one, the incident ray, the refracted ray and the normal drawn at the point of incidence on the surface of separation of the two media all lie in the same plane. And number two, the ratio of the angle of incidence to the angle of refraction is constant when there is a constant pair of given media and there is a constant color of the light ray. So what is the meaning of the second law of reflection? If the color of the light ray and the given media is unchanged, then the ratio of the sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction will be constant. This constant, from this law, Snell's law is obtained. This constant is known as mu. This constant is expressed by mu, or sometimes this constant is expressed by small n. So we can write like this. Sin I by sin R is equal to constant. This constant is expressed by mu or n. This, from where we have got this? From the second law of refraction, and this is called Snell's law 2. But the question that arises now is, what is the meaning of sine? ray is AO, which is falling at point of incidence O on the surface of separation. The name of the surface of separation is M slash. And the refracted ray is OB. Now here the refraction has happened. The refracted ray shifted towards the normal because the light ray is coming from rarer to denser medium. Now if you make a circle of any radius, make it the center, make point O the center and make a circle of any radius, you will see that this circle is intersecting light ray AO at a point. Let's give the name of the point X. Similarly, this circle is intersecting the refracted ray at point Y. Now if I draw a perpendicular from X to the normal and give the name of the perpendicular CX. We draw a perpendicular from X to the normal at point C. Similarly, we have drawn another perpendicular line from point Y to point D. That means the perpendicular is drawn from point Y on the normal at point D. Now, what is the meaning of sine? We were discussing this. Sine is, if you think of a right angle, the perpendicular sine is equal to perpendicular by hypotenuse. Perpendicular by hypotenuse. So here what is the here what is the perpendicular? Sine I. For sine I, if I want to calculate sine I, what is my perpendicular here? CX. This is the perpendicular. And what is my hypotenuse here? That is OX. This is for sine I, for the angle of incidence. Similarly, sine R, if I want to calculate the sine of angle of refraction, then the perpendicular, what is the name of the perpendicular? That is YD by hypotenuse. Hypotenuse means OY. So sine I by sine R, sine I by sine R. What is the meaning? With respect to this diagram, sine I means CX by OX and sine R means YD by OY. Now OX and OY will be cancelled. Why they will be cancelled? Because they are the radius of the same circle. So then CX by YD. What is CX by YD? This is the ratio of the sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction, and this will never change. This is a constant value. The magnitude of this ratio will not change until and unless the color of light and the given pair of media remains unchanged. So this is called the refractive index. Refractive index of the second medium with respect to the first medium. This is called the refractive index of the second medium with respect to the first medium. One more thing is there. So if the question comes, what is refractive index? What you will tell? You can tell like this: the magnitude of the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction is a constant, and this is called the refractive index of the second medium with respect to the first medium. And if the refraction is happening between vacuum and a medium, then the refractive index of that medium will be called absolute refractive index. Here our this topic refraction finishes. The next topic will be formation of critical angle and total internal reflection. What is that? critical angle. Critical angle. Rarer medium, this one is rarer medium, this one is denser medium. So in this diagram, from which medium to which medium the light ray is traveling? The light rays are traveling from denser medium to rarer medium. And we have already come to know that when a light ray travels from a denser to a rarer medium, the refracted ray moves away from the normal. Now the thing is, if you increase the angle of incidence, what will happen to the angle of refraction? It will also increase. The more the angle of incidence will be, the more will be the angle of refraction. Now here, this light ray AO is falling obliquely on this point of incidence O. And what will happen? This is the normal. ON is the normal. What will happen then? It will refract. What is the name of the refracted ray? Suppose let's give the names A slash, B slash, and this one. I'm not giving any name to it. So incident ray AO after entering into the rarer medium is going away from the normal. If I increase, this is the angle of incidence. First angle of incidence, let the name be angle I1. If I increase the angle of incidence here, this is I2. If I increase the angle of incidence, automatically the angle of refraction will also increase. If I go on increasing and increasing the angle of incidence, then what will happen? One time will come when the angle of the refraction will become 90 degree. So what is the happening? What is the thing that is happening here? The more is the angle of incidence, the more is the angle of refraction. So if you go on increasing the angle of incidence, the angle of refraction will also increase. So one time will come when the angle of incidence will be such, for that the angle of refraction will be 90 degree. What is happening here? The light ray CO is falling at such an angle for which the angle of refraction is 90 degree, and the refracted ray is going along the line of section. This particular, let the name be I3. So angle I3 will be called the critical angle. What is critical angle? The magnitude of the angle of incidence for which the angle of refraction becomes 90 degree and the refracted ray goes along the line of section is known as critical angle. Now the question that should strike in your mind is, what if I increase the critical angle? Will there be any refraction at that time? No. If you increase the angle of incidence more than the critical angle, then no light ray will refract. light ray will just come back from the surface of separation of the two media to the first medium. This phenomenon is called total internal reflection. So total internal reflection needs two conditions to take place. Number one, the light ray must be traveling from a denser medium to a rarer medium. Why? Otherwise, how the light ray will go away from the normal? How the angle of refraction will increase? Point 1. And point 2, this is the condition for the total internal reflection to take place. Point 2 says the angle of incidence must be greater than the critical angle. These are the two conditions for total internal reflection to take place. Now, why this phenomenon is called total internal reflection? Total internal reflection. Total, why total? Because no light ray will enter into the second medium. Whole amount of light ray will reflect back from the surface of separation of the two media towards the first medium. So as no reflection is taking place at all, it is total. Number 2, internal. Why internal? Because no light ray is going to the second medium. Light rays are coming back from the interface of the two media. So this is internal, and reflection, you all know what it is. Total internal reflection. Now the last topic of this chapter is, there are some natural examples of total internal reflection that we see in our nature. The first one is, why does a drop of water look so shiny and glittering if it is placed on an arum leaf or a lotus leaf? Look at the board. Here this is the water droplet. It is placed on a lotus leaf, suppose. So this water droplet is surrounded all around by what? By air. Here we have got our two medium. That is water, which is our denser medium, and the another medium is air, which is our rarer medium. Now, when the light ray is coming from rarer medium and falling on the denser medium, what will happen? The light ray, after refraction, the refracted ray will move towards the normal. So it is moving towards the normal. But when the light ray is trying to get out of the water droplet, it cannot. Why it cannot? Here this is the denser medium, this is the rarer medium. In this case, this angle of incidence is more than the critical angle. As the angle of incidence is more than the critical angle, the light ray must reflect back from the surface of separation to the previous medium. Previous medium means water itself. No refraction will take place here. So this is the point where the total internal reflection is occurring. And why it is occurring? It is occurring because the angle of incidence is more than the critical angle. And then the light ray is coming back to this surface, but here from denser medium to rarer medium it can go away. It is getting out of the droplet, and we see this part where the total internal reflection is happening. This part will look very shiny and glittering. Now the question comes, why diamonds and other precious gemstones look so bright and glittering and shiny? Because first of all, there are two main reasons behind it. First of all, the refractive index of the diamond is cut in such a way that there are so many surfaces in the piece of diamond from which the light ray can enter from here into the piece of diamond, but less number of surface from which the light ray can get out of the diamond. Then what will happen? The light ray will repeatedly undergo total internal reflection, and a very few number of light ray will come out from the diamond to air. This is one reason. Another reason is the refractive index of diamond with respect to air is very high, and the critical angle, so the critical angle of diamond is very low. What is the value of the critical angle of diamond? That is 24.5 degree. So as the critical angle of diamond with respect to air is very low, it is very easy for the light rays to be greater than the critical angle. And what will happen? Diamond, especially diamond, why so shiny and glittering? The first reason is these precious gemstones are cut in such a way, they are given the shape in such a way that there are many surfaces through which light ray can enter from air to diamond, but there are very less surfaces through which light ray can get out of the diamond to air. So what will happen? This is one reason. Another reason is the refractive index of diamond with respect to air is very high. So the critical angle of diamond with respect to air is low, very low, that is 24.5 degree. And it is very easy for the light rays to get a greater angle of incidence. The light ray can easily exceed the critical angle, and so the angle of incidence can be easily more than the critical angle, and total internal reflection will take place. Many total internal, the light ray will undergo a series of total internal reflection. Why? Because the critical angle is very less, and the very easily the angle of incidence exceeds the critical angle. So many times the total internal reflection will take place inside of the diamond, and we can look it very glittering and shiny from outside, very bright from outside. The second last topic of natural example of total internal reflection is mirage. What is a mirage? A mirage is a phenomenon which you can see in desert regions, especially in summer season, very hot summer season. How it happens? It is a illusion. It is an optical illusion that we can see in the desert areas. What is the reason behind it? The reason is total internal reflection. How it forms, how the mirage forms. Look at the board for the answer. You can see this is the sand, hot sand of the desert area. Here is suppose here is a tree, and these are the layers of air layers. Air is present in many layers in the atmosphere. Now the air layers which are closer to the sand will be extremely hot. This layer, this is the nearest layer of the sand, so it will be the hottest. The more you go up in the air layers, the air will become cooler and cooler. Now what you know about denser medium and rarer medium? If the air layers which are hot, we consider them, they will be our rarer medium. The hot layer of air is our rarer medium. Why? Because this is less dense. Hot air is less dense, cool air is more dense. So this is denser medium. Which one? The cool layers of air, and gradually it will become hot as it comes near the sand, and this the air layers near to the sand will be rarer medium. Now let's take a point. Suppose the point is S. It's the top of the tree. When the light ray is coming from the top layer towards the bottom layer, what will happen? You all have read that when the total internal reflection happens, then when the total internal reflection takes place, the light ray must travel from a denser to a rarer medium. So here the light rays are coming from denser medium, cool area towards hot area. Denser medium to rarer medium. This is the normal. I am explaining this one. This is the incident ray. This is point of incidence. This is the normal. What will happen? This is comparatively denser. This is comparatively rarer. The refracted ray will go away from the normal. It will go on happening repeatedly, which means the more the light ray is coming from the upper part of the atmosphere towards the lower part, the more will be the angle of incidence. Why the angle of incidence will gradually increase? Because the refracted ray is going away from the normal. Like this, one time will come when the angle of incidence will be more than the critical angle of a particular air layer. At that point, there will be no more refraction. From that particular layer, light will start its upward journey. Why light will start its upward journey? Because at that point, total internal reflection is happening. When the light ray will start its upward journey, the refracted ray will gradually shift towards the normal. And a spectator who is standing at this point, he cannot follow this curved pathway of light because human eyes tend to perceive light rays in straight line. So for this spectator, this curved path is not visible. He will see the image of point S point is slash. If this is the point where the light ray is entering into the spectator's eye. So if I extend this line here, it will be the image. This point S slash is the image of point S. What type of image? Real or virtual? It is virtual image. So this is the mirage. In the same way, the whole plant will be visualized by the spectator as a mirage. Moreover, these air layers, their density, their temperature is not constant. The temperature is continuously changing, and due to that, the density of the air layers is continuously changing. For that, this image will shimmer, and the spectator will think that here is a pond or any water body near it, on which the reflection of the tree is falling, and this is optical illusion. In the same way, we see that in the cold countries, in the winter season, especially in the evening time, the superior mirage or the looming effect is formed. How it is formed? In the same way. Suppose a man is standing on the seashore and suddenly he sees that there is a boat that is hanging from the sky, inverted condition. In inverted condition, how it happens? It happens in such a way that, see, this is the water body. Water body is extremely cold, and the air layers which are near the water body are colder, or cooler rather, and the air layers, the more you go up, the air layers will become hotter. So here, which one is our denser medium? The lower part of the air layers, and which one is our rarer medium? The upper parts of the air layers. If a boat is sailing on the water body and a man is standing on the seashore, he cannot see the boat sailing on the water, but he can see the virtual image of that boat on the sky in inverted condition. This is called superior image or looming effect. How it is happening? Same way, the light ray from any point of the boat is coming out and falling on the air layers, and it is traveling through successive air layers, and the more it goes up, the more will be the angle of incidence. Why? Because it is traveling from denser to rarer medium, so the angle of incidence will gradually increase, and one time will come when the angle of incidence will be more than the critical angle, and in that particular air layer, total internal reflection will take place, and the light ray will start its downward journey. And the point in which the light ray will enter into the viewer's eye cannot see the curved path. If we draw a straight line from the point where the light is entering into the viewer's eye, the end of that straight line will be the point of the formation of the virtual image, which will be in the sky. And this is how the looming effect or superior image is seen.